I just did one of the most powerful goal setting exercises of my life. It's called Reverse Goal Setting, taught by Justin Sung, and it literally changed his life within a year. I did the full exercise, and I also tweaked it a little bit and did something unusual. I asked AI, who I've been working with for nearly 2 years, to do the same exercise for me so then we could compare notes. And AI's version was actually more accurate in certain ways, more strategic, and it uncovered things that I wasn't expecting. And honestly, it made better business sense. So today I'm going to break down both versions, the differences, the insights, and how I'm tying this back into building my healthcare analytics business in public. So let's dive into what Justin talks about. And I highly suggest checking out the original video and going through the exercises. So credit, this framework is by Justin Sung, and watch his video, it's insanely good. High level summary is basically normal goal setting focuses on what you want to do. Reverse goal setting, or if you want to think about this, is one of the ways I approach it was reverse engineering from your outcome. But it also focuses on who you need to become, not just reverse engineering it. He adds in more details for specific execution, which is what a lot of people are missing. So reverse goal setting focuses on who you need to become for the goal to be easy, and then identify the skills and the gaps, opportunities that you're missing, and then create a plan for how you can overcome those gaps. So why this matters specifically for entrepreneurship, healthcare analytics careers, career switching, building systems, building an audience, it can apply to any of the goals that you have, but this is what I'm specifically targeting and using it for. So I wanted to document what I went through, going through the whole exercise. I did this basically digitally. I used my pen and I was just writing before I even typed anything out. And I think there's more power in physically writing something. I've been finding instead of typing it, I've found that I can be a lot more creative and a lot more deep thinking and get into flow. And it helps with just my deep thinking overall. So that's one of the things that I've been just noticing as a whole. So let's dive into what exactly happened. So the first thing you want to do, and part of the system, is you're going to set your long-term goal. He says 5 to 10 years, this is basically going to be your direction. And you just need to have it be flexible, because any long-term goal needs to be flexible, because what you're setting and what you're doing now is ultimately going to adjust what happens later. And he talks about this in depth in the video, but it makes sense. It's always why recently I haven't been mapping out huge goals. I'll map up a huge goal just to set my direction, but I won't, in terms of execution, I've been doing it in smaller sprints, more like in months, and then even like in weeks, and not really going beyond that, besides thinking about like what I need to do at a high level. And then this fits in exactly with what I was looking for. So from here, I'm keeping the number that I have in my head, and not just to be mysterious, but to keep Justin's framework that says long-term goals should stay flexible. And for me, it's going to be more about the direction than the number, but I'll probably reveal that in a future video, and just keep that as just one of those things that we'll see if I can actually hit this. But here is what the goal was that I was setting. Basically, it's, if you could think of fire, financial independence, early retirement. And it's not that I want to stop working. It's just, I just want the option to be able to. And it's the optional early retirement. It's the freedom. It's meaningful work without having to work. It's helping career switchers break into healthcare analytics or whatever I choose at that time. It's going to be 10 years. I've already committed to this. And that's one of the biggest things. It's just, one of my weaknesses is that I get bored easily and then I constantly switch. So after watching one of Alex Hormoz's videos and a lot of entrepreneur videos, the biggest killer is not that they don't succeed. It's the biggest killer is boredom. And that's something I've actually found because I switch a lot. More on that later, but next is building a scalable AI first education business and applications on top of that. So I want to be able to keep building and just take advantage of the opportunities that we have with AI and stay ahead, because this is literally like the advent of the internet, but now we get to experience it and take advantage of all the various opportunities that we have if you're trying to learn everything ahead of time. So that is part of it. And then also the emotional part is just being able to travel with my wife, be location independent. We could just stay wherever we want, take our time, and then I can still work on the business and we get to travel and live life at the same time. And the biggest thing for like an emotional component of why I set these types of goals is I have just a inner sense of accomplishment. I've always liked the challenge of just achieving things that seem hard and that I want to achieve. And that goal has always been something that's always been part of me. Like when I was a breakdancer a long time ago, it was like that internal setting a goal and then all of the tiny failures, but micro improvements. And sometimes it feels like you're moving backwards until you get that power move, until you can spin on your head, until you can do windmills, until you get that trick, that freeze. It's being able to get, once you accomplish it, it's just that internal feeling of accomplishment. And so for me, it's more growth oriented rather than financially oriented. It's just me wanting to get better and improve. After this, what you do next is you bring it down to a smaller goal. He says 1 to 3 years. I don't want to set 3 years, so I set it within 1 year. And I put it this specifically just a business context. For me, it was going to be one focused offer within Healthcare Automation Lab, or I think it's going to be called Healthcare Analytics Lab, name in progress, that helps career switchers break into healthcare analytics. And the plan is to scale it to 10K a month, 1 year. Why this matters is because this is going to be the first validation point for the business. It's also the point where my W-2, my day job, becomes optional, but I'll be keeping it, or I think so. We'll see what happens when I actually hit this. And then also aligns perfectly with my niche. Career switchers into data analytics, and then also forces me to create and focus on one transformational system instead of juggling 10 different things. And that's another thing that we identified through my process of doing this. And looking at this is the date. Now we have a date set. It's going to be November 28th, 2026. So now this is going to be 1 year from now. I'm going to be doing these daily updates, these weekday updates, and then we'll keep track if I can hit this goal and what things and how things change. And then also now it becomes, after you establish your goals, your direction, and then bring that down a little bit, it's going to be who is the person for whom achieving this would be easy. Now this you have to figure out who you have to become to be able to reach this goal easily. So what I initially wrote was an experienced entrepreneur who builds value in community and AI apps that give more value than they cost. That was my original statement, or like what I came up with. And here is what AI came up with. Oh, actually, let's go over what AI came up with in general. It was pretty close to what I wanted. For my long-term direction, it was building a life where freedom isn't a dream, but it's default. A life where my wife and I can travel where we want. I can wake up with full control of my time. Income comes from my assets, my skills, systems, and I can keep creating because I love to, not because I need to. My work helps people change their lives in real, tangible ways. I don't actually want to retire. I want the option to walk away from any job, project, or obligation because my time is fully mine. So that's my real end goal, and AI summed it up a lot better than I could have. A life of freedom, mastery, and meaningful impact. And then the emotional target is a deep sense of accomplishment from building something that mattered. And ChatGPT has so much context on me now that it's hard for me. I thought of switching, but it just has so much context that it's actually hard for me. So I actually use all three right now: Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT, for different reasons. And also because the channel needs it for me to evaluate it objectively to see what actually matters and what doesn't. And then my medium term goal, it basically set what we just talked about. And then same thing that we just talked about right now. So this was pretty close to what I initially wrote. Now, this next part is going to be how we work through my future self. So my future self has to be a disciplined, full stack AI builder and educator that's able to coach, build, and iterate and lead a community focused on healthcare analytics. And then my current self, this is where you do an exercise like what skills does your future self need to have, their opportunities, their attributes, and then you rate yourself against your current self on. I did it on my technical skills, time management, consistency, procrastination, and prioritization, because those were like the biggest things I found. And then you identify the gaps. So here, these were like the biggest skills that I thought that future Jeff would need to have. AI full stack makes sense. Community building makes sense. Fast AI iterations is to be able to iterate as fast as possible with the AI tools that we have, because things are changing so fast and it's getting so good that I need to be able to stay in front of the iterations and then iterate fast, because I need to be able to adjust in real time and then use how powerful it is to make sure that I'm deploying, I'm shipping, and I'm changing and updating and evolving as the technology evolves. And then also, I was a self-taught coder. Even though I think in systems, I don't have some of the coding fundamentals to best build and direct AI. So this is one of those gaps that I need to build. And then also, this is one of the reasons why I have like a beta test, because one of the things that Alex Hormozi talked about when he goes into a new market is that he tries to get 10 testimonials. And then whenever I broke into various new industries or new skills and I was trying to do new things, from digital marketing, copywriting, running Facebook ads, I did the same thing. I look for free clients, work with free people, help friends and family, so that I could actually get the experience and the knowledge of what it takes to get the result. So for here, even though I've helped friends who are already in healthcare break into better careers in healthcare analytics, help them with their resumes, their portfolios, their interview skills, I need to know what it's like for career changers from scratch that have no healthcare experience, how to break into healthcare analytics consistently. So that's also why I'm doing this right now and working with a subgroup of people to see if I can do it consistently enough, because there's new nuances working with all of these people that I did not have experience to before, even though I could consistently get the experience or the result for my coworkers and friends and family that I've helped in the past. And then also, these we'll talk about soon, but basically I find myself not being able to prioritize the best and biggest thing to move me forward the fastest. And I'll work on stuff. I won't work on too busy work, but then AI identified my habits and my patterns very quickly, because that's what it's really good at. But this is one of the things that I've always noticed is my prioritization, time management, and then also leads to procrastination and not as productive as I could be, depending on where I'm at emotionally. So I'll talk about that more soon. And then the recommendations from the video were basically time management, task management, prioritization, focus and concentration, procrastination resistance, and learning ability. Those were what he talked about as things to focus on. And it was perfect, because time management, task management, focus and concentration, I'm fine on. Procrastination resistance was something I needed, and learning ability I'm fine on too. So what AI came up with in terms of like who I need to become was I need to become a healthcare and AI builder educator whose systems and tools and coaching transform career switchers into healthcare analysts, even if they start with no experience. That version of me builds AI tools, healthcare workflows, automation demos, dashboards, apps, and templates, teaches clear, actionable content that makes analytics AI feel doable for normal people, leads a community of career switchers who trust me, follow the plan, and get results, executes a weekly big three, 90-day focus cycle, small improvements compounding over time, iterates fast, learns quickly, adapts quickly, corrects course quickly, and stays consistent even when dopamine drops. More on this. If you've seen one of my old videos on talking about how I had a major dopamine crash, and then it was hard for me to find motivation and get back to it. This is one of the biggest reasons why. And I'm glad I was able to find that pattern with using AI over these periods of time. And then the skills that it talked about, it just hones in on more specific things, but AI assisted app development makes sense. Cursor, Claude Code, and GitHub Copilot, those are just being able to not just, I don't want to use no code because I have the coding skills. I just need to have deeper coding skills. And then being able to have AI assisted app development is significantly better because I can dive into issues, more flexible problem solving, feature creation, enhancements, security compared to no code options because I'm not afraid of code and I've built full applications. So it doesn't make sense for me to just go the no code route. And then here, just more, it's better worded compared to what I had. And it pretty much has a lot of the things that I was talking about previously. The only thing that it mentions here is content packaging, which I am struggling with at the moment. And then so this is why I have both channels and why I'm iterating fast on this channel, and also so that I can just yap here and then get better as a content creator because I get the reps in. And then traits of future me is steady, focused, patient, relentless, builder first, teacher always. And that future is what naturally will produce a 10K a month and beyond. So here, you are not chasing the outcome. You are chasing the version of you who naturally produces the outcome. So now, in the next step of the process, you have to define your current self because you're going to establish a baseline. You're going to establish a baseline of the skills that we need. So basically, everything that we came up with over here, and then you rate yourself out of 10. And what was funny is that I don't have the screenshot of the initial reaction that AI had, but it did say that it's accurate but harsh on a few things. But I think it's important that I be harsh so that I can over optimize for the places that I lack. So it's better for me to adjust from there. But basically, AI full stack development, 3 out of 10. Community building, 6 out of 10. Fast AI iterations. It actually rated me higher for these. Because it says that I iterate fast. It's just the contemplation between and the overthinking that it's the execution where I'm slow at. And then coding fundamentals, it also rated me higher here. And then coaching career changers. Most of these, it was correct on. And I was a lot more hard on myself than AI was on me. And then when it analyzed what I originally wrote for myself, it gave me harsh but accurate, and then it explained why it thought this based on my previous conversations with it. But this is exactly where I need to focus on. Because if I can fix these sections, because my focus and concentration, my learning ability, I've always felt were superpowers. When I was working on this, I literally worked 5 hours straight. 5 hours straight late at night. And I'm in that mode where I'm just focused. I'm obsessed right now. Everything is new. Everything's exciting. And I can just put my head down. And I was just doing this until I finished. Finished late. You've probably finished at 5 or 6 in the morning. But then I slept in because it's after Thanksgiving and it's Black Friday. And here is what AI gave as my strengths. I should have taken the actual screenshots of this, but next time. So my strengths, because of the niche that we're going into and the moat that I'm trying to build, is 13 years of healthcare analytics experience, deep PBM, which is pharmacy benefit management, and Medicare domain experience, systems thinking, Excel and Access automation mastery, Python fundamentals, SQL business logic, content creation teaching, marketing, and funnel experience. I have 14. I think it's 14. It's for sure over 10 digital marketing certs. I ran into that recently when I finished my AWS AI practitioner, and gave me a badge I can use on my LinkedIn. And then I forgot it was tied to my digital marketing cert, so I have those if I need them. And then public speaking, coaching, leadership, team building, high learning speed, high stamina when focused. Like I mentioned, I was when I'm in this type of mode, I can focus for a long time. It's just I need to prioritize action and be focused in the right areas, or it's just mental masturbation. And I'm just working on things to think about it, which is not good. And that's one of the things that we've addressed and talked about recently. And then strong writing. I've been writing for a long time, with or without AI. I've always been naturally a good writer, but it's always been a labor of love, if that makes sense. It just takes me time to get what I want out. But now that I have AI, I have basically another person. I've always been good at collaborating. And with AI, I feel like AI is my collaborator, and it makes it easier for me to write. And then if I don't like a direction, I think of myself more as like a director, and then I have the vision in my head and where I want to go. And then that's how I iterate. And watching more videos and people and seeing how people are using AI, I believe this is where the future is. You're going to be less doing things, and you're going to be more having AI execute for you, but AI needs the direction, because it can, but it might not have the best creative direction for where you want to head, and also some of the problem solving in the nuances of understanding everything. But it's getting better. It just keeps getting better. And then empathy for care switchers, and then I have unique niche positioning. So from here, you identify okay, what are my biggest gaps from my future self to my current self? So this is what I came up with. The biggest gaps are my technical skills for building full stack applications, my time management and prioritization, my procrastination resistance, and fast course correction and iteration. Basically, I need to better prioritize, not procrastinate on it, and manage my time better and have better technical skills. And iteration just means I identify when I'm going down the wrong path, and then I change course fast, and then I keep changing and iterating through multiple versions till I figure out the best model, the best version, and then keep improving. Constant improvement, basically. And here's what AI came up for me. My gaps: full stack AI app building, advanced Python data engineering foundations, consistent prioritization. So exactly what I need. And then it didn't say my time management was bad. It said my time management during low energy cycles is what I need to focus on. And then procrastination resistance, parallel project overload. Basically, with everything that I give and been working with AI, it just says I have too many parallel tracks. It means I'm just doing too many things at the same time, instead of focusing my energy and my focus and my superpower of just being able to focus and take action consistently on one thing, and just get that one thing done, and everything else get rid of. And then same here, inconsistent routines. It says that I need better systems. Same with boredom trigger pivots. It basically, one of the things I remember asking AI, be honest with me, what is the one thing that you think that I don't realize about myself that if I fixed, it would make me reach my goals faster? And one of the things it said is you get bored too easily and you keep switching. And if you could just focus on one task and stay with it, you would be significantly further than you would have been if you had to stick to one of the things that I chose a long time ago. And then slow course correction, but it's said during these valleys of focus. So it doesn't think that I'm bad with my time management only with my time management and being able to adjust when I'm bored or these valleys of my productivity. Like right now, I'm like up. I'm just like, I'm super focused because all the work that I get to do right now is interesting, but that's not always the case. And then next, he has us do a force field analysis. Basically, it's your current self to your future self. What are the barriers that we have currently, and then what are the drivers that drive me forward, so that you have a better understanding of like what's holding you back, and then what's driving you forward, and then being aware of that, so that you can start reducing the barriers and then increasing the drivers. And this is a lot of stuff. This is like more in the weeds of different things. But basically, with the barriers, I'll just point out the most interesting things. Again, dopamine dips is basically just me having like down periods of productivity and going too hard, or not even going too hard, just being less motivated in those times, which leads to me procrastinating and overthinking. And also, I have a problem with perfectionism, which is also related to overthinking, which leads to procrastination. And usually happens when there's a big dopamine dip at the same time. And then part of that is also related to my fragmented focus, because I have too many things that are going on that it's hard for me to prioritize, and that leads to additional procrastination. And that's why I have energy volatility, because I'm doing too many things. These are all things that AI pointed out to me when we were like diving into like deeper into things deeper and like how I can improve. Inconsistent routine leads to energy volatility. And I also, because I have to think about things too much, it fragmented focus. And then because of that, it leads again to procrastination. And then here, too many parallel goals that I'm focusing on instead of one. Those are my barriers. These are going to be more technical barriers and more like in the weeds. And then these are drivers. Basically, what are my strengths and what drives me forward? And nothing here that is surprising to me. Actually, this is surprising. High IQ. I think, I don't know if AI is just gassing me up. AI could just be gassing me up. But yeah, I don't know. But this is interesting. Yes, pattern recognition, strong work ethic. But this is also could be a hindrance, because people with high IQ also overthink too much. So we'll see if I have an IQ. Maybe I'm smart. I'll take smart. And then am I self-deprecating and like thinking, having limiting beliefs about this and accepting this? Yeah, that could be something that I need to explore too. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't notice this previously. And then here, this is a big one. Ever since being put onto AI and ever since using it recently, being an early mover in AI is something that drives me forward significantly, because AI is coming and people don't understand how powerful it is. Yeah, and it's just one of those things that you need to start using it at a higher level to not get left behind. Seriously, there's massive opportunities coming, but there's also massive threats to everyone's job if you don't stay on top of it and evolve with the market. So then after this, we have to build a plan, and then you identify what you think your biggest bottleneck is. Basically, the biggest thing that you can solve for your future self, your biggest gap, and then that's your highest leverage improvement that'll move you closer to your goals compared to everything else. And this is just prioritization exercises that I've done in the past, but it's also nice to put it in like an easier to follow plan. So what I thought was procrastination plus poor time management, and I didn't add it here, but also prioritization. And then here is what AI said. But when we were comparing our notes and I was working with AI and looking at the different patterns between both, what AI said was, let me pull up my notes, was here here's why my version looks different compared to yours. I recognize a pattern in your behavior over 2 years. You have high energy peaks, deep focus bursts, massive output when motivated, dips when motivation drops, boredom crashes, dopamine resets, and project switching tendencies. These cycles are normal for creative founders, but they create a predictable problem. Your system collapses the moment your dopamine drops. So this is why, because I was talking about talking about time management and time blocking doesn't work for me, and I hate Pomodoro because if I'm super focused, Pomodoro takes me out of it, and then it feels like I'm wasting my time. This is why time blocking fails. This is why projects stall. This is why pivots happen. So I concluded the bottleneck is not discipline or motivation. The bottleneck is the fragility of your system. And then here is what AI suggested, or elaborated more on the logic of it. I realized your tactical gaps are symptoms, not causes. You wrote, I need better time management. I need better prioritization. I need better discipline. But here is the truth. Those things break down only in your low energy cycle. So they're not primary gaps. Your root cause is you don't have a system that works even when your motivation doesn't. So I built a system around consistency, not peak performance. I also evaluated your business model and saw where leverage actually comes from. Your model depends on shipping content, building community, creating healthcare analytics assets, building simple AI tools, transforming career switchers, weekly consistency, building trust, creating case studies. Technical skill helps, but it's not the single biggest driver of your revenue. The single biggest drivers are consistency, output, community engagement, one irresistible offer, transformation stories, visible building in public. So the system needs to maximize those. So based on my recommendations, I base my recommendations on your proven moats, not your fantasies. Your actual moats are healthcare analytics expertise, healthcare workflows, Excel and Access automation, content teaching, coaching, marketing, systems thinking. Trying to become a full stack dev, not a moat, not needed, not your fastest path. Your business grows faster if you lean into your existing moats. I saw how scattered goals slow you down. You juggle Python, AWS, AI studying, content, school, W2, day job, crypto, app building, and community building, and this creates decision fatigue and identity disruption. So I built a system that eliminates those decisions and focuses on one goal that moves everything else forward. This is why I recommend the 2-layer system, and I'm going to explain it in deep logic. So I'll go over that soon, but that's basically what it came up with, and it defined this significantly better than I could have ever done for my own, because these are symptoms. These are not root causes. And when you're too in the weeds, when you're too in the weeds of something, it's hard for you to identify like what is the root cause. So it's nice because AI has also been acting as like an objective third party, as my coach, as someone, as a partner, as my creative partner and creative founder, to give me objective feedback on like how I'm approaching things, my thoughts, and then how I need to move forward. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. And that's why I want to share these, because the way that I'm using AI is different than the majority of people. And I want to capture more of that so that people can start seeing like how the power of AI and the different ways that you can use it. So here, this is just more an elaboration of it. You conclude your biggest gaps are technical skills for building full stack apps, time management, prioritization, procrastination resistance, fast course correction in iteration. Fully accurate, but here's the logic behind those gaps. Technical skills, your goals require you to build AI apps, dashboard scripts, ship internal tools, guide students technically, create workflow automations, demos. But this gap matters more for offer delivery, not YouTube. And then here, time and prioritization. And then here's where it dove into a little bit more. I juggle too many parallel tracks. I struggle with a weekly rhythm. I get bored, need a boredom-proof system, need stable execution flow, have inconsistent works at my day job, and then I rely on my energy spikes. And then procrastination, it's not laziness, it's because your system doesn't manage your dopamine. You need a minimal viable weekly plan, and high energy weeks mask low energy dependencies. And then fast course correction, you see problems instantly but just struggle to pick one correction to prioritize. So this is where my procrastination happens and my overthinking. So that's why you need this 2-layer systems, because, and then also dove deeper into how I naturally operate, which is in 3 cycles: up, high dopamine, high focus, obsession; 2, which is regular baseline, stable, productive but less intensive; and then down, low energy, boredom, retraction, procrastination. And then explained and it justified that this is okay, just alleviating my fears. And yeah, these cycles are normal, especially for high achievers, creative entrepreneurs, people with novelty seeking brains, and people who push themselves hard. And then the reason why these gaps look huge is because I'm comparing myself from like current peak Jeff to like my baseline. So again, it just talks about this is a systems gap. So 2-layer system. Let's go into the layer system and the full logic behind this. So for here, let me zoom in. It makes my prioritization significantly easier, because what I'm going to do is basically a 90-day sprint or 90-day focus, and then 3-month focus. You eliminate prioritization analysis by just having one primary goal. And this is the goal that I came up with: validate and build healthcare analytics plus AI offer as the core engine. Everything else is supportive or optional. So this eliminates things that I'm prone to: shiny object temptation, pivot fatigue, over research, scattered work, inconsistent weeks. This layer answers, what game am I playing right now? Basically, what do I have to do? And everything else doesn't matter if it's not for solving that specific game or that specific outcome. And then the layer 2 about this, it came up with the weekly big 3. These are the things that I need to do. Basically, output, build, and growth. So this is going to address my procrastination and my time management issues, because I only need to win 3 battles per week. And the first one is output, one thing that ships. So during the week, I'm just going to be working on one thing that ships. It's either going to be a YouTube video, and it's usually going to be a YouTube video. And then we have the module, we have worksheets, a demo, a case study, a portfolio breakdown. But the output is going to be one thing that ships specifically for building my brand or building the community. Actually, no. This is so specifically just going to be for YouTube and build. Actually, no. It could be either one. I have to narrow this down because I'm just looking at it and refining it right now. But the second one is one thing that strengthens the offer. The offer is going to be the analytics community. So the AI automation lab, or healthcare automation lab, or healthcare analytics lab. Name is work in progress. But building a micro automation, it's going to more likely be making lessons, because there are students right now that this could help, and I need to reverse engineer, basically do the same thing, and then just reverse engineer the lessons and then just start building the whole course inside school. And then, yeah, basically this one for me right now is going to be focusing on finishing the healthcare analytics, going from scratch into breaking into healthcare analytics by building experience and getting them experience, because a lot of programs and people don't talk about like the nitty-gritty. How do you actually get experience inside this field? Because there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and they don't actually contextualize how hard it is or the different ways that you do it. So I'm going to go into that more deeply, but I just need to have the priority and the time management system, and then also break it down a little bit further so that I can execute on it better. But yeah, build and then growth. The one thing that increases your tribe. So reply to 10 comments, make one TikTok, DM a member, run a Q&A live, add a poll or discussion post. I actually didn't see this previously. So this is interesting. I'm going to have to narrow this down because all of these don't really matter. DM a member. I'm already DMing members. We're already in the weeds of trying to help people with what they're going through right now. So maybe I just continue doing this and trying to get the results for the members that I'm working with right now inside the community. But yeah, I'll narrow down this. I'll have to narrow down the focus. But it's going to be this for the week. 2-layer system. Need to hone out the details, but I'm going to follow this and then iterate as I go. So why does the system work? Because it's boredom proof, which I struggle with, and energy proof. So whether you're in a high dopamine cycle, you produce 3 to 10x more. And when you're in a low cycle, you still hit your weekly big 3. Your business stops gaining momentum. And one of the other things that we identified as like one of my like major patterns that holds me back is I pivot too early, too fast into new things that are too shiny. And so what I did was with this single business is that I am going to focus on it for the next 10 years. This specific business, put my head down, just stay in this. I love building. I know AI is the future. So I'm staying within this and I'm going to keep at it until this succeeds. Because the longer that I just keep at it, the higher chance that it has to succeed. Because I pivoted way too many times. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And one thing I'm going to be focusing on too is this channel specifically. I think I'm going to start building more to get more experience just being able to ship things. So this is going to help me build daily momentum. I'm still going to work through things as they like come up, but it's going to help me build the AI skills and then show in public. People can follow and learn as I'm learning and I'm building and working through all of these things, and then learning and becoming the future self that I need to become to make this a success. So it's going to be like the gym for my brain and my skills. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to be testing this out and I'll report back. But for those people who are career switchers, wanting to break into healthcare analytics, join the free Healthcare Analytics Lab. I'm documenting everything in real time. You'll get access to the systems, the habits, the tools I'm building, along with being able to be on the ground level, experience everything, and get free coaching so you can get there faster. So subscribe to this channel as well, and link is in the description below. Apply. If you get accepted, it'll be great to work with you, and hope to see you inside. And until next time, career responsibly. And I am going to take a break because I've been working too long. Until next time, peace.